Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a radical reordering of priorities. It's this concept that love isn't just, a nice quality to have, but it's the absolute foundation, the thing that validates everything else we do. And if you've ever felt like you're achieving great things but still feel spiritually empty, this is going to be a challenging one.
It is. We're looking at some powerful source material that really dissects the essentiality, the evidence, and the eternity of love.
Right.
And the core argument here is pretty surprising. It claims that even these incredible displays of, say, spiritual power can be temporary, ultimately meaningless without the right anchor.
So our mission today is to synthesize why these sources would call huge achievements like prophecy or ultimate knowledge just noise, and to figure out what the true motivation for any lasting action really has to be.
Let's unpack that.
Okay, so the sources just jump right in, flipping our typical priorities completely upside down.
Total inversion.
Yeah. They claim the things we admire most, eloquence, being able to
No.
predict things, profound knowledge, even these huge acts of faith,
Can be worthless.
apparently worthless if they're disconnected from love.
It's not just a critique of shallow work. It's a full-blown spiritual audit of our intentions.
Absolutely. So let's take eloquence. The sources talk about mastering language, like you could speak every dialect on earth, patois, Mandarin, you name it.
Or even speak with the tongues of angels.
Exactly, the most persuasive orator in history. You could move millions with your voice, but without love, you're immediately downgraded. You're just a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal.
And the power of that analogy is, it's fascinating. A gong and a cymbal are loud. They get attention,
Totally, they're performative.
but they have no melody on their own, no purpose. The critique is aimed right at the absence of that core ingredient, the motivation that turns sound into music.
And the argument gets even more dramatic from there. It moves on to prophecy and knowledge. Imagine you could see the future, like the great prophets. You could look at a situation and just know how it's all going to unfold. That's the peak of insight.
And this isn't just spiritual. It extends to human achievement. Imagine having knowledge greater than Einstein, the kind of knowledge that could, deliver the cure for cancer.
Right.
Even if you know all the mysteries, all the data, the source still calls you spiritually vacant, an empty barrel.
Okay, but I have to push back on that a little from a modern view. If someone cures cancer, even if they're motivated by pride or wanting recognition, isn't the outcome helping millions still incredibly valuable? Why would the source dismiss that good result so quickly?
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
And the source material isn't really dismissing the objective human benefit. Curing cancer is good, full stop.
Okay.
What it's dismissing is the spiritual validation of the person doing it and the eternity of the work. The sources insist that the ultimate measure of success in this context, it's not the measurable output, it's not the KPI, it's the integrity of the intention.
Yeah. So without love, the work might do some temporary good for humanity.
But the foundation is self-serving. And because of that, the entire spiritual enterprise is temporary, bankrupt.
So the core insight is that the output is worthless if the foundational metric, your intention, is zero. That makes sense.
Exactly. And the sources give this ultimate contrast. Think about the boldest prophecy Jesus ever made, predicting his own resurrection. Kill this body and in 3 days I'll be back. That's staggering power.
Unbelievable, yeah.
But that power is immediately put next to the greatest expression of love. Jesus on the cross, looking at the people killing him and praying, "Father, forgive them." That self-giving motivation is what validates the power.
Which brings us right to the motivation check. We have to ask ourselves, right,
Oh.
why are we doing the work?
Why are we pushing for achievement? Whether it's in ministry, serving, giving, anything.
Because if you're doing it without love, the sources are crystal clear, the work will be empty.
You have to contrast actions rooted in love with actions rooted in duty or pride or performance.
Okay, break those three down for us, the dangerous alternatives.
So first, there's duty. If you're serving just because you feel obligated, like it's a mechanical task, the work becomes a burden. It will be empty.
The checklist approach.
Precisely. Then there's pride. If you're serving because you desperately want to be seen, to be noticed, that self-glorification just cancels out any spiritual return.
And the third?
Performance. Doing these spectacular things in worship or service, but it's all designed to get applause from other people. That also leads to emptiness.
So it's not the action, it's the internal GPS guiding it.
That's a great way to put it. And we see this emptiness perfectly in the story of King Solomon. This is a man who researched the meaning of life. He tried wisdom, pleasure, massive building projects, unimaginable wealth,
He matched out every metric.
every single one.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, his conclusion was that everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind, unless it was rooted in a foundational reverence for God, which is the ultimate act of love.
And that's the pivotal insight, isn't it? You can give everything you have to the poor or completely burn yourself out doing ministry. But if the motivation is self-glorification or just ticking a box, the whole thing is bankrupt.
God requires love because it's the only pure motivation. It's the only thing that validates everything else.
Let's use an analogy to really synthesize this.
Yeah.
The difference between work with love and work without it.
The symphony conductor analogy, it's perfect. It captures the transition from chaos to composition.
So imagine walking into a rehearsal hall. Before practice starts, the musicians are all just warming up.
Right. You hear the drummers tapping out a rhythm,
The brass players buzzing, the violins are doing that high-pitched tuning thing.
keyboards running scales, guitars, everything at once.
It's a collection of instruments, sure, but all you really hear is noise. It's chaotic, unorganized, individual sounds.
And each sound might be beautiful on its own, but together.
It's a mess, and that is our life without love. The individual gifts are there, the eloquence, the knowledge, the sacrifice, but they're all fighting for attention. They're serving the ego.
But then, love steps in. It acts as the conductor.
And what does the conductor do?
It guides. It synchronizes. It orders those powerful individual sounds so that the distracting noise, it becomes integrated, purposeful music.
So love is the conductor of our spiritual lives.
Exactly. Without that conductor, the most powerful act, the most eloquent speech, it's just a loud, annoying sound. The conductor is the difference between chaos and harmony.
So let's pivot now from what love prevents to what love actually does. If it's the conductor, what's its job description?
The source material gives us, well, the ultimate spiritual job description. It details the behavior of love.
And it's important because it's not about an intense emotion, or some fleeting feeling.
Not at all. It defines love entirely by its actions, its behavioral output, its action, not just attitude, though it starts with attitude.
Okay, so let's start there. The attitude is patient and kind. How should that feel to your neighbor or your family?
Well, if your daily interaction with someone is sharp or harsh like sandpaper, leaving them feeling raw or resentful, then by definition, it is not love. Patience is that ability to restrain yourself. It tells you when to stop, when to wait, when to be gentle, even when you're sure you're right.
And kindness is the active part of that.
Exactly. Then the job description moves into resilience, endurance. Love doesn't dishonor others, it rejoices in the truth. But these next qualities, they're really difficult to live out.
They sound like they require sacrifice.
They do. Love bears all things. That means carrying burdens, emotional, relational, without constantly complaining or just giving up on the person. It's about absorbing pressure without breaking.
And it covers and protects.
Yes, it actively shields others. It doesn't jump at the chance to expose someone's faults, to shame them or make yourself look better. It protects their dignity with grace.
Okay, this next one seems almost impossible in our world. Love believes all things.
It's probably the most challenging one in a cynical age. It means choosing trust over suspicion. We're so conditioned to rush to judgment, to assume guilt based on someone's history or some ambiguous evidence.
Right. Him have the history, as the source says.
Exactly. But this spiritual generosity demands we give the benefit of the doubt, to anchor our heart in trust until the opposite is proven.
That is so counterintuitive. In business, in life, we're trained to verify, assume risk.
And that's why this is so profound. It's a different economy. One where hope and trust are assets, not liabilities. Which leads to the next one. Love hopes all things. It is fundamentally forward-looking. Even when all the evidence points to despair, it clings to the possibility of redemption, of change. It sees potential.
This is clearly not a sentimental love. It's sacrificial, holy. And the sources say it's the only thing that actually lasts.
And that's the bigger picture. That's why we have to work so hard to pursue this difficult, active love, because everything else we focus on is temporary.
All the energy we spend chasing spiritual gifts, achievements, knowledge, it's all part of a partial reality.
The sources state it plainly. Spiritual gifts will cease. Prophecies will end. Tongues will stop. Knowledge will pass away. We're reminded that these gifts are just tools for this incomplete, fuzzy reality. Paul said our best knowledge now is like seeing through a dirty mirror. We only see bits and pieces.
The gifts are temporary scaffolding.
A perfect way to put it. Because when completeness comes, when we move from this partial reality to the final one, the need for prophecy, for knowledge, it all vanishes.
You don't need the reflection when you're face to face with the
The
source.
scaffolding comes down when the building is finished, and this leaves us with only three things that remain: faith, hope, and love. But even among those three, love is supreme. Faith gives way to sight, hope gives way to achievement.
But love,
Love never fails because, as another source says, God is love. It's the eternal environment. It's the very nature of God himself.
so if love is eternal, then every single action motivated by that genuine sacrificial love is an investment in permanence. It's the only thing that proves our connection to the eternal. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The sources are demanding a radical shift in how we measure success. The love God requires is not an optional extra, it's the essential core. It's the test that reveals whether our loud, busy work is music to the divine ears, or just a clanging cymbal designed for human applause.
And the mandate is powerful and practical. Let all that you do be done in love. We're charged not just to understand it, but to embody it. Not just to desire it, but to reflect it.
So the final provocative thought for you to explore this week is how to practically apply this concept of agape, this perfect sacrificial love, to your hardest relationships.
Yeah, challenge yourself with a few questions. Am I truly patient with the person in my life who moves the slowest or irritates me the most? Am I genuinely kind to the person who can do absolutely nothing for me? And am I not self-seeking in my own home, actively putting the needs of others before my own convenience? The pursuit of that conductor, that pure motivation, is the greatest investment you could possibly make.